and speak on behalf of my country. So I'm here, Rudik, and I never thought that I would be a politician because my background is in IT, and when there were elections in 2019 and Ukraine needed a new wave of politicians, we became elected. And I don't think that anyone expected that there would be a full-scale invasion and that we would have not only to work on our country's future, but we will have to be responsible for our country's survival. And there was a statement that you don't choose to live during the historic times, but you have to make sure that you perform at your best at the challenges that you have given. So yesterday was day 1000 since the full-scale invasion started, and honestly, none of us were expecting that we will live up till this day 1000, right? At the day 1, you hope to survive till the day 2, and you think that the day 1000 wouldn't ever come. So there are certain lessons that we learned up to this point, and I would like to share them with you. The first lesson is the lesson of unity. The Ukrainian constitution has a very clear explanation of what needs to happen at a time like that. Parliamentarians need to gather inside the chambers and vote for the martial law to begin. I remember how we were calling each other from the parliamentary party leaders, asking if we will be even able to get people inside the chambers and how many people can we get. Kiev was in collapse, bombs were falling everywhere, and people were trying to evacuate their families. Their connection was down, and we were just hoping that we will get some people in. Our security team was saying, Red Cross, absolutely not, you are not getting in, because Ukrainian parliament is like a perfect target. It is situated in the middle of the huge park, and it's like no-brainer not to go there at a critical time. The parliament was built during the Soviet times, so aside of being at the center of the park, it also had an underground tunnels, and this is where we were gathering, hoping to get the green light from our security. So I remember at some point, it was probably 7:30 a.m., they said, okay, you can get in, you have 10 minutes, use them wisely. And I remember how we were running in the darkness, inside to the chambers, hoping that we will be able to do it really quickly, to vote for the martial law to begin. And then when we appeared there and we looked around, we have seen that of 420 members of parliament, almost 300 came. And for the next 10 minutes that we were desperately clicking our buttons, calling for the world to stand with us, to support us in our fight, telling Ukrainian people that we are not running, we are standing together, democracy works and will be working and fighting against the eternal enemy. We are holding hands and singing our national anthem. This was one of the most emotional moments of my life, because at that moment we also made the vow. For as long as it takes, no matter how hard it will be, we will stand united until we win the war. Right now, 1000 days after, I can tell you one thing. It is very hard for politicians to work together. We are not set to work together. Nowhere politicians are set to work together. But when you have something bigger than your ambitions, something that is called your future, the future of your country, and your physical survival, then you figure out how to fight behind the scenes, and then when you speak to the outside world, you're working as one team, Team Ukraine. And this is basically what was keeping us together for 1000 days, and we hope will keep us together further, being able to stand united, and also being able not to be alone. And this is the unity for which we are thankful to all of you, to the people of the United Kingdom, to the Americans, to all the Europeans. You know, every time I'm coming to the United Kingdom, and it's been like, I don't know, like 15th visit, I have one personal tradition. I walk past or drive past the number 10 to check if there's Ukrainian flag there. Because you know what's super important? When I go back and I talk to our military, this is the question they are asking me. Are people outside, in the outside world, remember about us? Are they standing with us? Are they supporting us? And I want to take a picture and show to the people who are risking their lives every single day and night and say yes. And here is the proof. And for that, I'm so, so, so grateful. The second lesson is the lesson of values. We are fighting for the European values because in our hearts, we are Europeans. And when, at the very beginning of full-scale invasion, our military or our volunteers were going to the front line, they were tying 2 flags to their backpacks. One is Ukrainian flag, and another one, flag of the European Union. Because this is a historic choice for Ukraine. We are not brothers with Russians. We are Europeans and our future is in Europe. We made the choice in 2014 when the war started. And we are fighting right now for this particular choice for us, but also for our kids. And this is so important that the European integrational processes are going on and on and on. Because for us it means that there is a future and there's not only fighting in this future. I remember how we were getting the candidacy to European Union, and it was probably the first good news since the full-scale invasion started. When we, and you will like it, so when we came into the parliament in 2019, we were the first liberal party to enter Ukrainian parliament. And we were very naive and young and all of that, and we were promising our voters that we will get the Istanbul Convention voted in, etc. And we were not able to do that. And then imagine it began to be the last thing that we needed to do before the candidacy for European Union was granted. And the whole parliament just supported that because it was a super important point. And so I remember how after we received this information that the candidacy is there, I was in Brussels. And there was so much work done beforehand and so many discussions and negotiations. And I remember we received this message. And so, if you hear about a crazy woman running around the European Commission screaming, "Yay, Ukraine," this may or may not be me. and then I called my dad, who lives in the west of the country, and I said, "Daddy, we got it, do you understand what it means?" And he said, "Well, I just feel that something good lays in the future of Ukraine. And that at some point, maybe not us, but at least our kids will be able to live in strong European Ukraine that we're building for them right now." Lesson number 3. The unpunished evil always returns. One may think that we learned that from Hollywood blockbusters, but it turned out that we did not. Putin was able to attack us in 2022 because he was not punished in 2014 when he took over Crimea and our eastern territory. And if right now Ukraine is pressured into the ceasefire, he will gather his forces and attack us again. And that's why every time I'm speaking to the journalists and people are asking, is Ukraine ready for the ceasefire? The answer is no. Because we already have been there, we have the proof of concept. We are saying agreeing with Russia never works. We learned it the hard way. Why the world makes us to repeat these lessons again and again and again. So after 3 months, Bucha and Irpin were liberated. And I was within the parliamentary group who went there to say that, to exhume mass graves and to approve like that what we have seen is real. It was one of the best and the worst decisions. The worst is because I have seen the mass graves, the bodies alongside the road. I have talked to the women who were victims of the sexual violence. But I also truly believe that at some point there will be a tribunal and Putin will be on the bench and Russia will say that nothing of that happened. We will need people to step up and say it was all real, and we need people to be able to testify. And we will have people who will testify. But I want you and everyone who is hearing us to understand how critical for us is to get the justice for all the victims. And this is why all the ideas of the ceasefire doesn't work. Because for us, the justice means that we will get people who were raping and torturing and committing all kinds of the war crimes. Get them to the benches tribunal and show the world that this evil cannot be repeated, should not be repeated. So I met Bill Browder, who is a great friend of Ukraine and who helped us working on the project that is called confiscation of the Russian assets and using them for the sake of Ukraine. Because right now we hear so many times, oh, we are exhausted, we don't have enough funds for our own country, we cannot raise taxes, we cannot support Ukraine, which is irrelevant, because I totally agree with that. You may not support Ukraine, but allow us to take up to $500 billion of Russian money, of Putin's money, that are being stored in the democratic countries. And this is a fair and just thing to do, to make Putin pay for what he's broken, to make Putin pay for our weapons and supplies so we can fight for ourselves. We have made an enormous strides in that, and the percentage of those money are already being sent to Ukraine, but not the base. And I think once we get politically to the point where we are able to confiscate and hit Putin where it hurts, we will get to the political turn of the tide of the matter. And that will again and again tell you that you cannot commit all kinds of the war crimes and go unpunished. And it will send a very strong message to the other dictatorships in the world that are watching, and they're watching very closely. The fourth lesson is the lesson of future and peace. So a couple of words about my past. As I told you, I never planned to be a politician. But then when the occasion came and we were all elected, I had a very simple and very naive goal. Because I come from a very small town in the west of Ukraine. During my career and my personal life, I was going through everything that my country was going through. So like the poverty of 19th, after the collapse of Soviet Union, then the 2000, then the revolution and the war. And I had a very simple dream that we will be able to use our best energy, best knowledge and resources to build a country so that our kids will have more opportunities than I had and many of my colleagues had. And we were working very hard on this goal. And now we are over that. Because our next generation, they have seen dead bodies, they know how to study in the bomb shelters, they are asking their parents the question that none of us know how to answer. Mommy, are we refugees now? And there is one thing that we absolutely owe to those kids. They should not have to fight this war again, over and over. It ends on us. We were already chosen to fight and we will continue fighting. This is exactly what we are going to do. And there is the fifth lesson, that impossible is nothing. You know, it was super scary to sit in Kiev when all of my friends from different intelligences were telling me that Kiev will be taken in 2 or 3 days. And then nobody believed that it will be otherwise. Then nobody believed that we will get Patriot missile systems. Then nobody believed that we will get the candidacy into European Union. Then nobody believed that we will get tanks. Then nobody believed that we will get fighter jets. But you know what's the most important? We believed that. And we chose to fight for it through the bazillion of words no through the million people who were telling us it's not going to happen ever. So right now, when we're being told just a week ago, no, you absolutely cannot use violent range weapons inside Russia's territory. When we are being told, well, you will be 400% pressured into some kind of peace deal, or you say, this war cannot be won because Ukraine is much smaller, and this is David versus Goliath situation. When people are saying that it is impossible to confiscate those 500 billions, or that it is impossible to drag Ukraine into NATO with all our hands and feet, there are just two words they're giving you to share. What? Us. Thank you so much for all of your support and your attention.